passe super, l'artiste, super, encore un but sensationnel. That's a brilliant bit of follow-up play by Mahe. Oh my goodness me, what a shot.
Sagosen setter det hen! Han setter den! De er i semifinale igjen!
It's the traditional start of the Bundesliga season, and the two big names that have battled it out over the last few years meet again at the start of a season. Magdeburg and Fuchse Berlin are looking to hang on to the legacy that they've built and build on it, while many of the teams have regrouped behind them. It does feel like the end of a generation here, the end of an era with this team. Maybe I'm going too far here, but we will talk about the Super Cup, the German Super Cup here. It's Alex Kulech here, joined by Chris O'Reilly. How are you doing, Chris?
Very good.
Was I referencing the end of an era being more of a Magdeburg thing or a Fuchse Berlin thing?
Well, maybe it's the end of an era for our usual tardiness with the beginning of the Bundesliga season, because you say it's a traditional start of the season. Our traditional start of the season usually happens in mid-September, but here we are chatting about the Super Cup. So diligent this year, Alex, and happy to be with you for this one. Yeah, it's a fascinating kind of little subplot for the start of the season. You know, the Super Cup is an exhibition game. Perhaps two of the best teams in recent years, both in Germany and in Europe, and also maybe two of the teams with a lot of question marks over them, as you alluded to there. I would say if we were to lean on it perhaps being an end of an era for one team or another, it would be Berlin, because there I have a lot of questions about how this team is going to play this season. But one of those questions has already been answered in one of their pre-season test matches. You alluded to Matthias Gietzel's wondering aloud about his own willingness to continue fighting for the titles in our morning club just a couple of days ago. Well, he's shown that he has not just the will to fight for the titles, but also fight for pre-season matches, scoring 12 goals against PSG.
It's wonderful. He went and scored the first four goals to just say, hey guys, like, I am here. I'm still here. And that's where, you know, the doubts for Fuchse Berlin, losing, you know, a lot of key players here and not replacing Lars Andersen. It doesn't seem like that's going to be the case. They're going to play with, I would say, a missing backcourt player for the season. You know, they do have Fabian Vida back if they want to, you know, rotate that right hand side, but the left side is definitely in a weaker spot without big Lars Andersen, who is in the second division of Denmark for this season, which is incredible.
Having a good time over in Høje with their pre-season. But I saw an interview from just a few days ago on Handball World, the German site, where the headline is "Hanning rules out Andersen replacement," saying we're not bringing in anyone. Where he sees Mathis Langhoff as the man ready to fill the gap, and even finds the discussion about a new left back somewhat disrespectful. What do you make of that? The starting point, because that is like, even when we go back to last season, like one of our big talking points post Final Four was like, how is Berlin gonna transition this season? Because they have all the big names coming 2027, but there's the gap for this year. A gap which they cannot just phone it in, because if they want to be competing for the Champions League title when they bring all the big boys in, they've got to finish in the top two, maybe top three of the Bundesliga this season. And so, yeah, they've got to, they believe they have solutions. Have they got solutions, Alex?
Mathis Langhoff is a perfectly serviceable player. And hey, maybe he has another level in him. We'll have to see. I think it's a lot of responsibility, especially with the fact that Tobias Gröndal doesn't have as big of a role in this team as probably what hoped, and I think that probably relates to the defensive structures, but still, that rotation, that your right-handed rotation of being Grandal and Langhoff doesn't scream Champions League winner, because that's what they want. That's what Giesel wants, at least. I think for this season, it's about hanging on. But for, with the reinforcements coming to really dominate. But as you said, it's a season where they have to hang on. They have to claim, like, there is a real possibility, like a real chance that this season or the following season we have, the Costa brothers, Putlik, Dikamem, all playing in the European League. Like, that's not impossible. But I think coming into this season, Fuchse Berlin are a team that is stable. They are a team that kind of believes in their coach, Nikolai Krakow. Again, you just mentioned it. The firing of Jaren Sievert happened at the start of last season, during the Gothenburg Fringe Festival that you usually work at, and may mean that we usually delay our Bundesliga preview, but it's big. It's too big to ignore this year. So I think a full season of trust and support to Nikolai Krakow, who I think earned it. He really put together a very solid season, and the way you hear Giesel speak about his coach is probably the most important thing. Like that is for Berlin. You want Giesel to be in a comfortable spot, and with Nikolai Krakow at the helm, they have that. I don't want to talk about durability because Giesel's shown it time and time again. I think maybe Milosavljev will see straight away in this Super Cup final here whether Berlin miss Milosavljev. And they've brought in Palika, who is a big game player. We've seen it before, but he's got a few years on him now. But Milosavljev is the player that's showed up time and time again in the big moments. Like, he may be streaky at times, but he's shown up in the big moments, and we'll have to see if Berlin's goalkeeper line with Ludwig and Palika is enough to repel this Magdeburg attack.
Yeah, the other player coming in at left back, I mean, they have got another name in there, which is Freddy Schimak, who's joining from fellow Bundesliga club Lemgo. But I think we talked about it a couple of months ago when we were again discussing this future of Berlin, that this guy has got like an average of 1.5 goals per game in the Bundesliga over the course of his career. So it's very much whatever way you look at it, it's going to be a removal of that style of play for Berlin, where they do at times play lovely flowing handball and a bit of small ball, but whenever they need to, or whenever there's space at 9.5 meters, you got big Lasse Anderson there. If he's feeling good, will just smack in a shot from distance. That's not there anymore. Like, Giesel is capable of it, but we know that he prefers not to, unless he kind of wants to prove a point or whatever it's really necessary. But perhaps it just signals a complete change in the approach of the team when you have Giesel, Lichtlein, Grundal, and Langhoff in there, that it will become a little bit more Magdeburg-esque in the way that they build up their attack, as if we need more of that.
You are right. I think there's a loss of athleticism that is, pretty significant between Lasse Anderson and having Langhoff in that backcourt. Like, it is, it's a piece defensively and offensively that it served a lot. So you're right. Who's going to be the player that takes that shot? I have no idea. Like, looking at the squad, there's no one there. Like, Grundal and Lichtlein aren't going to be jumping over defenders. Langhoff himself is not a player who really is a backcourt shooter that much. Fabian Wieder has been injured constantly. Hey, maybe Matthias Giesel adds another string to his bow, which I'm sure he will, and he'll start jump shooting. But you're right. There's an athleticism. There's a move to a style of handball that I don't think Nikolai Krikow has always wanted. I think he's kind of been snookered into this. Nikolai Krikow and his teams has always had shooters. From George to Flensburg, he's had shooters in the backcourt, so it's not like this is something that he absolutely wanted. They play quick, but he's had shooters, so it is it's going to be a challenge. And again, how much they can rely on Gitzel, we know a lot, but that is the story for Fuchse Berlin this season.
Yeah, just a little bit more of like just needing him to grind out. I think a lot more. And the way we're talking may would go hand in hand with what Bob Hanning said of that disrespect a little bit about Langhoff. And Langhoff has, take nothing away, he's stepped up on big occasions for them, has been their main man even in Final Four the season before last. But he's he himself has come in always in these situations as the man who has to fill in for somebody else. If Anderson's not having a good day or needs a break, or he comes in defensively and then gets to run counterattacks a little bit, for him, psychologically, it means something else completely. And maybe that will see him turn into this other kind of beast if he's like the main man again, because we're discovering that you don't need to be massive anymore to be a very impactful backcourt player, as was the case even 5 years ago. And he's not exactly small. He's 192, so he's fairly big. But I don't know. At 24, it still feels like he's growing into himself as a top level handball player. Maybe that is what happens here, and we'll all be laughing about how naive we were in a few months' time. But you don't feel it.
He doesn't have the swag.
He doesn't.
He just doesn't exude superstar. He's a nice player. He's a nice, hard-working boy. He doesn't Lasse Anderson had the swag.
Yeah.
Lasse Anderson showed up strutting with his shoulders back. That little bit of extra wrist action when throwing the ball. All of that is. It's sexy. It's it's you want to watch that. That's not what Matthias Langhoff.
It's efficient.
To you.
He's good German workhorse.
Nice,
yeah,
exactly. He's a bit of Bockwurst. Just he'll get it done. It's not caviar.
Well, maybe that's what they need, just to get through the season, both in the Bundesliga and the Champions League, and put themselves in a position for Gitzel to make magic happen. And it's a very similar situation.
Bob Hanning's definitely lying here, because he spent all year trying to sign Simon Putlik to come a year earlier. So he's like, I believe in Matthias Langhoff to be a superstar, but I really, really want this player to come earlier because I think we're screwed.
Yes. Matthias Langhoff at 24, you are the present of Berlin, but at 25, you will not be the future of Berlin. You are the now. Take your chance before we send you off to Melsungen. And it's similar with the goalkeeper department. You mentioned Palika coming in, but it's been a very active discussion basically for the last 2 seasons about Lasse Ludwig and whether he would kind of get the chance to thrive for this team. His stats were always looking quite good, but when they really needed someone for the big moments, it was so often, particularly as that season went on last season, Dejan Milosavljev. This is a massive chance for Ludwig, but it's a double bet on the young players coming from the Berlin-Potsdam route for Bob Hanning, and it is in its own way a massive gamble. If it pays off, perfect. You have the next Drux Vida kind of hometown boys who are superstars, but may not be the case. On the other side then, on Magdeburg, Again, a big shift for them. But we're looking at the players that have come in and out of this squad, I have a lot less kind of fear about their future, to be honest. A lot of players have left. O'Sullivan has left. Sega Hernandez has left. Portner has left. Sander has left. Hornke has left. So many people. Sekil as well. Bartold, though he didn't play too much last season. But just looking through their squad here, looking through the social media and seeing just big, strong boys coming in. Seradia is back. I mean, what a perfect example of a team realizing what you had just when you miss it. So one season away, and he's been brought back into the team. But a complete opposite story in terms of the goalkeeping department, as Dominik Kuzmanovic has joined the team to make an all-Croatian duo. And that is one that excites me, I have to say. Oscar Vind as well, coming in on the right wing. Just a little bit of Danish sparkle.
Yeah, I think for Magdeburg, they've kept their core, which is exactly the same. They have Klar, Christiansen, Lagergren, and Omar Ingi backcourt that has just been very solid for them for a long time. If they're all healthy, which they're coming into the season as, they just win games. You just don't mess around there. I think Christian O'Sullivan being replaced by Seradia is a very easy transition for them. So it's real continuation, even though there's a lot of change, but the core of the team is very similar. What's interesting for Magdeburg is they seem to win a championship every second year. The Bundesliga every 2 years, which, they won the 26, the championship in 26, in 24, and 22, while finishing second in both 23 and 25. Couple of Champions Leagues in there in 23 and 25 to fill the gap. So they switch between them, and so it's... I don't know what leads to that. They haven't won them back-to-back. They've been the best team in Germany for the last 4 years, 5 years. I think Bennett Wiegert has been the best coach in handball. What he's done with this team, the mindset that he's brought in and kept continuously, they just, they continue to win in that kind of endless streak. Like, would you bet against them? Well, first winning the Super Cup and then losing the Super Cup and then going on a 16-game winning streak. Like, what?
Oh, you've brought your expectations down. You're down from a full season unbeaten, or 20 or 30 games unbeaten. 16 would do a good job, I would say, in this season for them. But yeah, I agree. They, just looking at the team here, I mean, they have cut a lot of players from the squad. They were in a very unusual position towards the end of last season, where they had too many choices, which I think, as we've all learned now, just simply does not suit Bennett Wiegert. He wants his core of players, and he wants to use them all of the time. And the way that they have shaped up for this season, particularly in the backcourt, suggests that he is not changing that approach whatsoever. Jonsson and Weber are actually listed as their left backs, even though neither of them are going to play much handball this season in the attack. But I almost forgot Philip Weber was there, but he's still there. You've got Klar then, and Klar will be the left back, Christiansen in the centre, and Magnusson and Lagergren then sharing the right back position. So I don't know. Maybe we know that Jonsson is I think set to leave next season, perhaps. I wonder if I don't know if it's 100% like fix that one, because there was also the rumors about Thibaut Brouillet, which everyone expected over the summer that he was going to arrive. Even so much that they had like a reveal video, and it was like somebody with the hoodie on top, and all the fans thought it was Brie, and instead it was just like a contract extension or something like that, or Kuzmanovic, but which everyone knew already was going to be the case. So yeah, I don't know if that's going to be the next straight switch between them. But yeah, I'm done with like discussing whether they should be playing with more than the 9 players they actually use. That's what Bennett Wiegert does. That seems to work for the players. They're still there. That core of players that he keeps using, they seem happy enough to do it, and they are successful when everyone is fit and playing that way.
It's definitely going to be another top season for Magdeburg. I wonder, again, you have to talk about like burnout for this team that's been really relentless for last kind of 5-6 years in the same configuration. Bennett Wiegert with his dual role as coach but also sporting director. You have to talk about, burnout for him. He looks wrecked all the time, but it continues to work. And this is, there's a few teams that have really strengthened behind them. So the likes of Flensburg and Kiel this season, I think, are in better shape. Gummer's back as well, but we'll talk more about those teams at a later time. The teams have strengthened behind them. I think this year they can still stay there at the top, and then next year is where it's like, okay, the whole game has changed, and for them they're also losing Magnus Saugstrup, which is going to be a huge loss.
Yeah,
that's going to be crazy. I don't know how they're going to survive without him. He really is a machine. In a team of machine. He's like the biggest machine in the team of big machines.
Yeah. Do you not think Matthias Langhoff can kind of turn into a Saugstrup type? Saugstrup 5 years ago didn't have any swagger, but he's turned into an absolute machine. And maybe Matthias Langhoff, if Matthias Langhoff grows a beard, gets 10 more kilos, then maybe he too can be the Saugstrup at left back.
I think this being the Matthias Langhoff fan club, this is your new Magdeburg. Matthias Langhoff is your new Magdeburg. Yeah. You also have to, talk about the likes of Clark, Christiansen, all those players, that what Giesel has shared in his letter of like, can we do it again? I imagine a lot of the players that have been, it's this kind of breather year before an Olympic cycle, or before the Olympic cycle heats up, that I imagine a lot of players are kind of reevaluating their lives. And it's, that mental game. But again, Bennett Wiegert has shown time and time again that he can get the mentality of a team dead on. But even for him, he did have a little interview with Bild a while ago, where he mentioned that being the coach of Germany has always been on his bucket list. And after the Home World Championships in Germany this year, or the upcoming one, Alfred Gieselson's contract is up. So who knows what happens there? Who knows? They might do it all and win. And we might have Alfred Giesselson as coach for a long time, but an opportunity could come for Wiegert as well there, if he is in need of a change or wants to, questions whether he wants to come back again. But, all of this is to say that Magdeburg are still going to be at the top this season. I don't see them being shoved to the side too easily. And I think they come into this game as quite big favourites for me against Fuchse Berlin.
Yes, that was I think the good thing to wrap it up with. How do you see this game going? Because you did previously say that you could see them lose this game, but yeah, they are favourites in your eyes. Which I think I'll have to have a quick look at the bookies odds there while you begin to answer your question. But I guess Magdeburg would be overall favourites based on the squad outlook, I guess, for this season.
I think so, yeah. And that's exactly it. I think they have a steadier squad and a better team than Fuchse Berlin. They're the reigning champions. They did it again with ease, and Fuchse Berlin are again, there's a spark to Fuchse Berlin that makes me think that they can win this game, and we saw Magdeburg in the final four in the cup have this kind of weird disappointment in a big moment that. And again in the final four of the German Cup and in the Champions League. So there's something there in the big moments that they need to fix probably. But I think that's why they will look at this game as quite important, because I think in Ben Wiegert, who's his biggest perfectionist in the world, he's going to be looking at this as a tester of the big games that might come later in the season, and a little sense check of a mentality. And I think, for me, Magdeburg come out on top.
Yeah, but they do have a bit of cup hangover to get over, right? Or a cup hang up from last season with the cup competitions, where it didn't work out for them in Cologne twice in the German Cup final weekend, where they had that disaster against Bergische HC, Final Four as well. The problems with penalties all season long as well. So maybe a nice 37-37 draw and Magdeburg win on a penalty shootout with Kuzmanovic saving from Gietzel on the fifth penalty. That's my call.
Very good. Very good.